Hello everyone, my dear students. We can continue our Python lessons. Today's topic is strings. Strings are ubiquitous. They are everywhere. We need to process text in our application, and string is just a piece of text. It's a set of characters. However, it may be quite long, but still we treat it as one piece. However, in a certain way, a string is similar to list. Why? Because you can index characters in a string using square brackets. So you can access individual characters in a string the same way you can access elements in a list or in a dictionary or in a tuple. Also, len function still there. You can still use it. It gives us the size, the length of the string. An interesting detail about strings, they are immutable. So once the string is created, look at my line 1, there is no way to change individual characters in that string. I would do it easily with the lists, but this line is not allowed in Python. However, you can replace the whole string. So, for example, I can assign a new values to the same string, but what happens here in line 3, the old string is deleted from the memory, new string is created, and it's still reference to the same variable. So strings are immutable. However, you can replace an old string by a new string, and the type of the character. So in many languages, we have a special type for individual characters. Java, C, C++. But in Python, the character of a string still have the same type string. So it's just a string of one character. This is, by the way, very short example. What you see here in lines 3 to 7, you see I'm trying to walk through the string character by character, and you see I can apply again two different techniques, what we discussed in a previous lesson. Two types of for loop. I can loop by index. I can change I, then I have to calculate first how many characters in my string, or line 6, 7, I can loop through the values, through the characters, ignoring actual positions of those characters. So both loops, let's say classic and modern, they're going to produce the same output. Let's save it. Let's run it. And you see, yes, the output is absolutely identical. Operations with the strings. Strings can be concatenated. So you may apply plus operation not only to numbers but to strings as well. And what happens if you apply plus? You concatenate or combine or merge two strings together. Very often we compare strings. So the same way as we compare numbers, you can compare strings using 6 standard comparison operators. I think we discussed strings comparison when we were discussing comparison operations review the lesson about operations, and they compared in alphabetical order. So they compared character by character because any character has a code. So basically strings compared based on their characters codes. Of course, strings are much more complex than you may think. So technically speaking, you can do a lot of operations with the text. And you see, Python has a lot of library functions to manipulate strings. You can format strings. You can search inside a string for a certain substring. You can convert to capitals, to low. You can check if it's a digit. So you see there are many useful methods. You see how long the list is. Useful methods to manipulate strings. Why we call them methods? Because string, technically speaking, it's not just a simple variable, it has methods, so it's an object. We cover objects very soon. So that's why if you need to call those functions, you need dot character. So for example, if my string name is str, I don't call upper and str as a parameter. I call str.upper. So that's the difference between, let's say, normal functions we covered, and methods. However, again, object-oriented programming and methods is going to be covered very soon. Thank you very much for the string lesson watching. Please support the channel. I really appreciate your likes, your comments, share your thoughts. Maybe you can give me some suggestions how to improve my lectures. So all the best to you, and I'm looking forward. Bye-bye.